me be.
Question of the day is, what happens when you cross MMA with rugby? Today we're at Ultimate Fitness, Uriah Faber's gym in Sacramento, home of Cody Garbrandt, Chad Mendez, and UFC lightweight killer Josh Emmett, with a record of 11-1 in the lightweight division of the UFC. If you haven't seen his YouTube video for his highlights, check that shit out. He's a beast. Today, we're talking about tackles, takedowns, mounts, and everything that an MMA guy can show us in rugby.
We're going to talk about the tackle here. We're in an MMA ring, but we're kind of going to figure out how we can blend the two. So traditionally speaking, if you got a runner coming at you, you're going to make the tackle. You get inside of his hula hoop here, you get a powerful right foot step, you get into his dish, and you come in, you get your cheek to his butt cheek, and you throw your shoulder, and you grab around, you get the iron ring, you cinch, and bring him down to the deck. That's the basics of the rugby tackle. We're gonna have Josh come in here. Nice. We're gonna have Josh come in here and explain what he saw there, and any tips and tricks that he can bring in from wrestling and an MMA standpoint.
So from a different view, same thing, I'm in that good athletic stance. I'm gonna change levels. I have really good posture in my chest. I'm driving off that back foot like a track start as I penetrate with that lead leg. Boom, I wrap it up right under the butt. You can lock hands if possible. If not, this is fine. And now I'm gonna drive into his ribs using my neck and driving off that back leg as I finish the takedown.
Woo! So we went through a bit of tackling. Now, at Project Rugby, your tackler's job is not done once you've made that tackle. You have to get to your feet and you have to get on top and poach the ball. We want to tell you how to get the guy to ground and then getting back up and what you need to focus on as you get up to get ready for that poach. So Josh has gone through us a little bit here. He's going to talk to us about how he takes it down, how he drives his shoulder into his chest, and he gets on top of him really easily. And he's not side on, but he's up there ready to get on top of this guy and own him.
All right, so as I finish the takedown, I'm going to come in here. I'm still using my head, legs. I'm going to take him down. When we land, I'm trying to dig my shoulder right into his ribs with as much pressure and force as possible, so maybe it will injure him. At least that's in a fight. I'm always on my toes, so I'm never dropping to my hip because I don't want to take a chance of being rolled over or swept. So I'm here, everything's nice and tight still, and then from here, all I'm going to do is just push off his hips, pop back up.
So a few takeaways from there, coming out to it, a lot of us end up here on the ground and we don't own our bodies in this tackle position. A lot of time is wasted by the time you're trying to get up, and then these guys are already here trying to get the ball. Imagine how quickly you can get over that ball if you're driving, you stay on your toes, and this is just here, and you're ready for the poach. All right, we've gone through traditional tackling technique, and we got some pretty great tips from Josh. I was coached in England by this guy, Rob Hoadley, amazing guy. His nickname's Dangerous. How you doing, Rob? But it was the first time I've seen somebody teach me a different style of tackling, where you're almost like a boxer, and this is how we got this idea. You're straight up here, and you're getting ready to deliver this hit, and I'm not dropping here to get into the shoulder position because he can fend me, and he can dip down his shoulder, and he can grab me like this. But this works better in sevens because the offload is so dangerous. You're closing here like a boxer, but you come through, and you're actually throwing a strike. You get that power step in the hula hoop, and then with this, you come across the body, and you deliver a strike. And with this other hand, once you hit here, you take this back leg and then you take in the deck there. So we're gonna actually talk about delivering the most powerful strike in this instance. So you have all these tools in your toolbox to tackle low, get in the deck, but also you get a big guy coming at you in sevens or somebody in the open field, you're able to hit, step, strike, and make sure he doesn't offload. So we're gonna bring in Josh now.
All right, so now I'm gonna go over basically the same thing, but we're gonna go just from an MMA standpoint or boxing standpoint. It's pretty similar to me just throwing a right hook or a straight cross. We're still gonna use the functionality of our body. Back foot, I'm gonna squish the bug. I'm gonna use a lot of my hips and core to deliver that power at the end of the punch, quarter extremities, okay? So from here, for what I saw, is I'm gonna squish the bug, I'm gonna rip my core and hips as if you're swinging a baseball bat, and I throw that right hook here. From here, I'm just gonna block that knee, and I'm just gonna kick it over.
Yeah.
Woo!
All right.
So we made the tackle. We actually got up. We had our toes up. We had the body position here, and we got up. And your job isn't done yet. As a tackler, a lot of people make the tackle and they're on the ground like, oh, I did a great job. Project Rugby, that's not done. Your job has just begun. You have to get up and actually do the hard work now, is getting over this guy, getting onto your feet, and getting your hands on that pill and getting away from him. So we're gonna go ahead and have Josh come in and talk about some fundamentals about how when he gets up his feet and how he owns this guy in one of his fights. So it's a pretty cool perspective. He's gonna come in and talk to us about it.
All right, so from here, if I were to finish the takedown or the tackle, I'm not going to be on one hip, so I'm going to be here. As I'm popping up, I'm going to push off his knees and his hip, pop up. I'm going to make sure I'm rooted into the ground, so I'm in a nice, stable position.
Check out his core here and his body profile. He's directly over this guy. I mean, he is here. Nothing's going to get him off the ball.
And so what I would do is I would almost pin him down, and I'm going to start fighting hand control. So I would, do whatever I got to do. I'd put my hand on the ball or fight here, or push his head into the dirt, and try to start working that ball as I'm in that good position. I'm not going anywhere.
I just think as rugby players, we don't own this point of contact as well as we should. Like you saw him here, he said he's getting up, and if this were a real life fight scenario, he's getting the head down, and then he's got his hands here and he's crowding him to get this pill. This is the money maker. You win ball like this 6 or 7 times in the game, you're going to win that game. But understand, once you make that tackle and you're popping up, you have the power to go ahead and drive his head into the dirt and get this ball and make it as uncomfortable as possible for him to get that pill back for your team.
Make it a fight.
Yeah. Talked a little bit about the tackle. We want to make things even here at Project Rugby and get the ball carrier a little bit of things too. So there's a lot of blocking defense, shoot defense in MMA. In rugby, if you have somebody coming at you, you dip, you can actually get this fend there. Check out our fend video. We got it all broken down for you later on projectrugby.com. Or the other option is he's coming in, you dip through, and you use that bounce technique with the ball. So if this guy's coming at you, I can go ahead and dip and use that body motion down, drive down into his shoulder. So with those two tactics, what do you think is a good option for explaining how an MMA person might do this?
Yeah, so for MMA and wrestling, my first line of defense is head and hand. So I use a lot of framing, or what I would actually do if Will were going to tackle me. First off, I would change levels like I did in the double leg. I'm going to change levels and I'm going to frame. So my forearm's just going to punch him right in his throat as he comes in to tackle me. Okay, I'm just framing him here, and then I can take off and run. Okay. Another one would be I use my head. I'm not sure if that translates into rugby that well, but if I have the ball in this hand and he goes and he shoots, I'm just going to change levels, and I'm going to dip the top of my head right into his ear, and that's pretty similar to the little shoulder bump or fend you called it that you did.
Yeah. These guys are animals in here. We want to keep your head out of the tackle, but the same position applies. How he's dropping his body, and he's using his head here. You put that ball in here, use kind of the same thing. I'm still dropping here. The head's going to be substitute for the ball, and I'm going to drive this directly into his shoulder, and you see how he bounces back from that? I can go ahead and use the same tactic without getting my head in there, bounce him off, and still have room to move. All right, so here we're talking about getting that guy out of there, that golden meter. The tackle's been made, you got the firewall over the top of that ball, but you still got some time to get the guy out. So what we're going to try to do is we're trying to hit him in the middle of his back and get that ball open for our teammates. So I'm running in, I'm targeting this area here. I'm going to throw this shoulder directly into him. I'm going to give him a good pop. Give him a good pop with that shoulder. But this opposite arm, once I hit, it's going underneath that armpit. I'm using all that forward momentum. I'm squeezing, and I'm rolling him back out. So Josh is going to take us through his tips and tricks to figure out if we can get the competitive advantage here.
So real similar to that technique, I would do the same thing coming from a wrestling and a grappling standpoint. I'm going to rush in there. I'm going to drive that shoulder right between his shoulder blades, right on his spine, trying to hit him as hard as possible there and putting as much pressure as I can. So I'm really driving off that back foot, putting a lot of pressure. Usually I would grab the chin, but I know you guys want to stay away from that. So it's going to be the same thing. I'll just go around that arm And if I can't get him, what I think this will help a lot as far as the saddle roll, I'm going to drop my head to the other side, and then I'm going to try to push my head as far under his chest as possible as I roll. It'll use a lot more momentum. Really get him off.
All right, so we want to leave you with a few drills to actually take home to train some of this stuff. I think the most important takeaway is the shoot, and how I've never been taught to do this, but you've kind of been taught within drills. But if you take this technique, which Josh just showed me, I think it really puts the onus on getting your chest up straight and really flying into the guy and coming in for the tackle and getting that power step in. So if Josh wants to show us, you do a set of 10 of this, maybe 20, and you actually get this down, it's going to become instinctual once you get on the field in the tackle scenario.
So first off, we'll stay in our stance right here, whatever it is. You guys just want to make sure that you're changing levels first. You're keeping good posture in your chest. As I'm driving off that back foot like a track start, I'm also penetrating. And then you can come back up, change levels, good posture in your chest, drive off that back foot, shoot or tackle. Change levels, drive, shoot, and tackle.
So you think about it, how many of us are actually changing levels on the tackle, and how many of us are changing levels and actually getting a good shot in and doing it well? So this is a part of stuff where you keep training this over and over again. You become a vicious tackler with great form, and you take these lessons on board. There's nobody in the world of rugby that you can't take down. So the next one that's really important, and I've seen this around the world, is just the importance of the tackler not being done with his job after he's made the tackle. Your job's not done. It's not even close to done. You did the easy part. So we're talking about how we're going to pop up off the ground, but Josh was showing us where you get down here, you can actually train this movement. So you can do this on your own and do this with your team to be able to explode up as fast as you can. If you're on the deck here and you got the guy on the ground, explode up and get the ball. He's going to show us what we got to do here, and we're going to kind of mimic his movements.
So I'll go from a wrestling standpoint. Referee's position, where you guys start right here. All I'm going to do, if you guys want to, you can make it a little more difficult. Put the tops of your feet flat on the ground, then you're going to have to use more hips. If you want to make it a little easier, or you're new to this, then maybe curl your toes under you so you can use that as a way to pop up. So all I'm going to do is try to get up as fast as possible. Instead of doing a technical stand up, where it's really not that fast, I want it to be fast and explosive. So I'm going to pop up, good posture in my chest when I land, elbows in nice and tight. Now you guys can do a few of these, 10 reps of these to warm up. Another way to work on being fast and explosive is you guys can start from your knees here, just like you're doing a regular box jump. We're going to start nice and tall. Same thing with your feet. You want to make it more difficult, have the tops of your feet flat. Wherever my hips go, hands follow. So hips go, back, hands follow, and then I'm going to pop up to my feet as well, really using those hips. Okay. Fast and explosive.
Woo!
Well. Start tall, hips go back, hands follow, pop up, and release those hips.
The question is, who's faster? Are you ready? Count us down on 3. Count us down on 3.
Oh my God.
3, 2, 1.
I'm slow! Oh no!
Hopefully this video was useful for you guys. If you want to check out Josh, he is on Instagram at Josh Emmett 155. If you guys want to sign up for our email list at projectrugby.com, we give out a lot of tips and tricks, and we'll see you next time.